What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Homie Hangout, where we help others move in excellence. And sorry, the stuff didn't come from Amazon, so my man cave in the new house is not all the way set up yet. But I wanted to touch on this. It just happened. The Bulldogs. The Bulldogs arrived in Pelican Bay last night. Roughly 27 of them, give or take, were transferred from Salinas Valley, level 4 yard, to the Bay. And it remains to be seen how that's going to play out in terms of them being CTQ for a while, confined to quarters, or orientation, or if they're going to have these ridiculous MAC rep meetings or put a couple people in a yard to talk to each other. Like, who knows how it's going to play out? But if given action, there's going to be violence, right? And we know this because in the last handful of years, since like 2018, roughly, uh, there's been over 100 incidences in California in the prison system between the Bulldogs and predominantly North and or South, right, or those that fall up under the NF or the MA, all across the state, right? Large riots, small riots. Sometimes the Bulldogs get the upper hand, sometimes they get the short end of the stick, but it is always fucking bloodshed because they're not going to program and they have no incentive to. And there's been talk about how, oh, maybe we can get, from administration, right? Maybe we'll get the Bulldogs to go on these yards and just they get to program, alongside the NF and the MA. And then we'll start integrating other people that are in these level 4 yards that others would say are not active, but that just means they don't fall up under the traditional political structures. Um, Maybe then we'll start integrating them, right? Here's the thing though, and I get it, the administration's probably sitting there like, shit, the Nuestra Familia and the Mexican Mafia have found a way to get along on the yard. So why not with the Bulldogs? Here's the difference though. The, the MA and the NF had a shared struggle prior to the end of hostilities, right? You have a relatively small group of pretty old men who are never going to get out of prison for the most part, right? Not that there wasn't canales from both sides that don't fit this, but for the most part, talking about old ass dudes who ain't never coming home and who to some degree their grip on power is fluid with them sitting in the bay, right? Because the kids are running free on the yards. And so not that they lost power or anything else, but the getting out to the yard gave them action, right? At a little bit more prison comforts, a lot more drugs, a little more ego, right? And a renewed attempt at further consolidating power. So the leaders made that decision, right? And the historic struggles, the cause, all that shit's bullshit. None of that stuff mattered. What mattered was how do we get out of the shoe and get high and make money? And they accomplished that, right? And props to them and props for the decreased in violence. I'm not trying to see people out there killing each other. I'm not set tripping. I'm not whatever. Like, good for them. They changed the way the prison looks in California, right? The Bulldogs don't have that, right? The Bulldogs don't have a leadership that is going to basically sell out what the manpower says that they stand for, right? Um, they don't fuck with the MN, they don't fuck with the NF, and their whole identity is built on that. And because of the way that they're set up, there's not one old dude or five old dudes or 10 or 20 who can turn around and declare, hey, the world as you know it is changing, and here's the new program, right? That's what the NF and the MA did. The Bulldogs ain't gonna do that. So what's gonna happen? More people are gonna get hurt, right? And there's a lot of other folks on yards that are considered inactive yards by the political structures, but are still filled with hitters and killers and folks that haven't locked it up and they haven't PC'd up and they don't refuse to go to yards with anybody and blah, blah, blah. They just don't fall up under the tyranny of established prison gangs. And they are, how can I put this? Some of them, at least, are better built for what's coming than your traditional groups, right? Than the NF and the MA are. Because I was thinking about, I was talking to somebody that's incarcerated at Slim's Valley today. And here's the thing. You got the NF and the MA walking around the yard with security details, right? 8 dudes, 9 dudes, 10 dudes, 12 dudes, whatever, 13 guys, 14 guys, fuck, who knows, right? Making sure that they're safe, right? Making sure that all these geriatric people get to live as comfortable as they want to. I'm not saying that those dudes ain't killers. I'm not saying that I'm eager to go find them in a dark alleyway somewhere in the middle of the night. But are they really built for warfare today? Right? It's because it's not just a matter of heart. You know what I mean? It's also just a matter of ability. You know what I'm saying? If you're 75, 80 years old, how equipped are you to deal with 2 30-year-olds even running at you strapped up? Probably not very much. That's why you walk around with security detail. These dudes are fighting for their lives, right? And for their existence. And there hasn't been warfare like that. There's been a lot of bloodshed in CDC in removals, people killing their own. Yes, a lot. So prison is still a very dangerous place, and you can still get your head cut off. Probably for more petty reasons than ever before in history, ironically, because groups aren't fighting each other, and you can't be a gang if you don't have an enemy. So you might as well make an enemy from within to then keep everybody, on the team, right? Keep everybody focused. But so the end of hostilities was 2012, if I remember right. It's 2022. That's a decade of really no or very minimal large-scale riots amongst those that are on active yards, right? Are they ready? Are they really ready to be posted, sitting on a toilet with a knife all day, sitting on the sink, looking out the window, watching every movement, listening for everything, just waiting for the door to crack? And when that door crack, what happens, right? It's your cell pops, and the cell next to you pops, and the cell next to you has a 70-year-old high-ranking prison gang member. And in your cell is 2 35-year-olds that know that they're dead meat. They got knives too. Who's gonna come out on top, right? And I'm not saying that I don't have a horse in this race, right? I don't have a dog in this fight, so to speak. I don't want the violence to happen. I don't think violence amongst people is a good thing. CDC is making this mess. And a lot of responsibility falls on them, of course, because they make decisions of who goes to what yards and that kind of stuff. But this is also the fruit of decisions that incarcerated people make, right? When they did the end of hostilities, if you read the language, they left out, quote unquote, degenerate groups, right? Like Bulldogs, like Floridas, like Riders, like whatever other groups, right? Groups that don't fall under the traditional, structures, right? Under the traditional prison gangs. And so there's no space, right? Like those people have to go somewhere. They have to exist somewhere. And in some ways, it's like those groups have backed themselves in a corner as well. And everybody's going to have to pay the piper. And it's going to be a lose-lose situation all the way around. That's the frustrating part, right? More transfers are going to happen. They're going to spread more people out. CDC is insisting on this. Recently there's been people that have left active yards. They haven't locked it up, but they left active yards violently and gone to other yards where they would normally be able to program, right? Still, quote unquote, convict style. And administration hasn't put them out there, right? They haven't put them out there on the yard to go link up with people. They've kept them in the hole. They've told them, hey, man, now you ain't going out to this yard. You're not going to this level 4 yard, which it's hard. You can't call it an inactive yard. Like you can't call Salinas Valley C Upper an inactive yard. It's active as shit, right? There's no NF, there's no EME there, but that don't mean it's not active, right? And Those are dudes that haven't locked it up, they haven't PC'd up, they haven't nothing, they're doing their time, right? They just don't fall up under the dudes. So it's an active yard. And there's people that have gotten off of other yards that have gone there that normally would be able to go outside, program, link up with people, and just kind of do their time, right? But CDC's been playing games and been like, no, you're not going out there to meet up with your friends. We're just going to send you off to this other prison, right? We're going to transfer you out, just you, off to this other yard. And to be honest, some of them people has locked it up, right? They're like, oh, shit, I don't want to go over there all by myself. And that's going to happen, right? Just like it's going to happen that on these active yards, you know, there's going to be folks from the north and the south and blacks and whites and everybody else who, when their doors pop, they don't want no they don't want no smoke either. It's going to happen. And I think folks that are still kind of rooting for a home team, some of them are going to be kind of disappointed because, again, you had to have been down a while at this point to really been in warfare like that, right? Where it's on site and everybody got a weapon and everybody's trying to use it before one gets used on them. There's not a lot of people doing time on these level 4 yards now, these active yards, who have gotten active in that way. And a handful of those that have are so fucking old that they're not able to get active in the same way anymore, right? So it's going to be a mess. We've known it's going to be a mess. It's going to continue to be a mess. How this shakes out, who knows? But folks are out for blood, man. Folks are out for blood. And you got some people that are fighting, again, for their existence. And you got other people that are fighting just because they're being told to fight. Who's more passionate? Who's more into it, right? And the ones that are telling some of these people, man, you got to fight. When the doors pop, you better get off on that DO, or you better get off on that Bulldog. You better get off on that, whatever the fuck they want to call them, right? Those are the same people that used to tell you need to get off from those dudes from the other side of California on site. But now they don't. And now they say, oh, you need to get off on these guys. So the morale is wounded, right? Amongst a lot of people. Hey, we're supposed to be holding hands and singing Kumbaya, man, and just not stepping outside of your own lane in the politics, and you'll be fine. Not no more. Not no more. And are you willing to die for this? Right? Are you willing to fuck off your day for it? Some people are, of course, and some people aren't. And it's sad that anybody's being put in a position to have to make that decision. And I can't say what the right move is for anybody. You know, it's a deeply personal decision. I get it. Those who are like, look, man, I'm not gonna break for nothing. Whatever the consequence, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I get that. I do. Prison has conditioned us to, a lot of us, to feel and think that way, right? Well, man, I empathize with a person who's like, really, bro? Been down 20 years, man. I'm 5 years to the house. I'm gonna get washed over this, right? A lot of hard decisions, man. There's gonna be a lot of hurt people, and a lot of bloodshed. And I don't know. I'm not saying specifically at Pelican Bay. I don't know how it's gonna play out there. I don't know what the administration is gonna do. But what we do know is every single time that you put Bulldogs with folks up under the NF or folks up under the EME, there's violence. It's not gonna stop. And again, I don't speak for anybody, but from what I'm hearing, and feel free to tap in the comments, man. If you got some roots in Fresno, you're from there, whatever. It ain't sounding like there's any appetite for reconciliation, and I don't blame them. Why? What do they have to gain? Right? Put yourself up under another oppressive group. That's kind of the whole thing that's built into their DNA, right? And I mean, the NF and the EME are very oppressive organizations, right? By definition, by virtue of their existence. And so who's going to sign up to be up under them when they don't even know what the hell they're doing? Their identity is all game goofied up too, right? Who knows how they're going to survive in the next 10 years? Something will survive, you know. But what it is and what it looks like, I wouldn't trust anybody who says they know. You know what I mean? Who knows? But anyways, that's it, man. It's a fuck situation. Uh, but the Bulldogs are in the Bay. There's gonna be some more going to other places. You know, some Florida's is gonna be going to places, maybe the Bay, maybe other places. And some are gonna lock it up, and some are gonna get off. And that's true on all sides. Some folks from the north that still fall up under the NF are gonna lock it up. Some that fall up under the MA are gonna lock it up. It's it's all fun and games, man, until the knives come out, right? And you're not tagging your own, you're not whacking your own people. Now you gotta fight another group, and ain't nobody in prison been doing that very much lately, except for the Bulldogs. So see what happens, man. Stay tuned. Help others move in excellence. Stay the fuck out of prison.